welcome back to the stream. Today is a somber day, bittersweet somber day. Um, I just wanted to take a small break because we're in quite the frustrating part of Resident Evil, and today has been a little tough. I know it's gonna sound stupid when I explain it, but it's important to me, and I do want to take some time to just chill a little bit. So we're playing Voidling Bound. If you don't know what this game is, it's gonna be the new hotness. I just already know it. It's a fantastic game. It is. Sorry, I haven't actually set up the scene yet. I just wanted to start streaming, but yeah, it's a fantastic game. It's made by the same developers as Spore and Skylanders. You can really see a lot of that influence here. Um, this game is about collecting these creatures called Voidlings, and um, like working together with them through a sort of symbiosis kind of fusion um, in order to cleanse a infection that is ravaging the galaxy. That's just a more general gist of it. However, the game isn't out yet. I'm actually only playing the demo, and it still got me completely hooked in, even though it's just a demo. Now the reason why the game isn't out yet, or sorry, the reason why I'm playing the demo is because all of the stuff that you do here in the demo will transfer over to the live game once it comes out. Releases on June 9th. I think I might stream it. I think I might, because I am enjoying it a lot, and we can do Resident Evil on both of them at the same time. Regardless though, yeah, this is Voidling Bound. Um, I'm just gonna kind of be playing it in the background while I just talk, explain what's going on, why I actually want to take just a small break from Resident Evil. Besides the fact that we're in a bit of a annoying part. Let me just make sure it all like looks good and works and stuff like that. Okay, I think we're good. So, today, or I guess 3 minutes ago, May 21st, 2026. Destiny 2 has been, a post article released by the developers Bungie about Destiny 2. And they're ending their service of the game. The game is done. They're gonna do one last update, and then after that, it's completely finished. Now, we don't know if there's going to be a Destiny 3. There's been a lot of cope about it. I personally would love to see Destiny 3, and I think that they really could pull it off. And I don't know. It's a whole other thing, speculating about it, but for the foreseeable future, we do not know if there's Destiny 3. Or any sort of continuation of the game, even if it's in like some kind of prequel setting or something. But, yeah. There's not going to be any more content releasing for it past June 9th, the same day that this game comes out, actually, which I find pretty funny. But yeah, it's tough. I'm not gonna lie, it's very tough. If you don't know, because actually the VOD doesn't exist anymore, unfortunately. I really wish it did, but I am a very big Destiny 2 enjoyer. I played the game since... Dude, wow, the game is louder than I realized. Let me turn it on. Okay, there we go. I've been playing the game since I was in 5th grade. I am now graduated. I'm in college now, but yeah, I've been playing the game for a really long time. I've been playing Destiny 2 for most of it. I got into Destiny 1 and the like sort of latter half of its life cycle. Dude, the game is still out. Sorry. Yeah, no, sorry. I got into into Destiny 1 during the latter half. And then Destiny 2 I played on release and played through every bit of content that came out for that. Through every all of the ups and downs, which were a lot of ups and downs. A lot of downs, mainly, I would be honest with you. but it was still just a fantastic game. Like, there's genuinely nothing like Destiny 2. Nothing. Like, there will be nothing that replaces it, nothing that fills the void of it. Not because of its story or its setting, which are cool and all, but just because of the nature of just how the game plays and feels and all the systems and how it all combines together. And for me, it all culminates in the raids in the game. I think the raids in the game are like some of the best like experiences you can have in gaming ever. And there's not gonna be any more of that. Any more of those. There's not gonna be any more weapons released. No more expansions. No more super overpriced expansions. Um, just nothing. And it kind of hurts. I'm not gonna lie. It kind of hurts. It hurts not being able to like, get excited about my favorite game and see that like there's more on the horizon. Feels like there's always been more on the horizon. Even at the end of Destiny 1, they ended Destiny 1 with the announcement that there was going to be a Destiny 2. And so like you never had this sort of depression really, this sadness or this parting like with Destiny 1. Or sorry, like with Destiny 2 now. Yeah. Hello Nat, welcome to the stream. Very bittersweet indeed, yeah. Yeah, it's really sad. It's really sad. This last content update's gonna add a good chunk of stuff. It won't last for a very long time or anything, but it'll still be very enjoyable, I'm sure, and there'll be a good amount to do. But yeah, the game is done, and it's hard reconciling with that. It's been there for me since I was whatever, however old 5th grade is. Oh, I did the wrong one. Since I was, if I'm in the 5th grade, I guess 10 years old, right? Yeah, I think 10 or 11 years old. I've been playing that game for, and now I'm 21. Like, that's insane. Half of my life has been that video game. Coming back home from school, playing it, getting the homework done, whatever. And then just grinding the game as much as I could. And then getting up the next day and doing it again. And, I'd be equally complaining about the game, just like everyone else was, but I still would return to it every single day. There was nothing that could really necessarily stop me unless the servers were offline or my internet wasn't working or something like that. And yeah, that game is super special to me. I mean, it's like it was the thing I looked forward to. It was the thing that like I was like, I gotta get home. I gotta make sure, I do well so that I don't get like my Xbox taken away or something like that. Or I gotta make sure I do well so like I can just kind of get out of this place, school, as soon as I can so I can play. I did that for 11 years on console for most of the time. Or sorry, not most of the time, for a good chunk of time, and then on PC for the rest of it until now, until the final days of the game's life cycle. The game isn't going completely offline, which is good, but it isn't gonna get any more updates, which for a live service game is basically means it's completely dead. Alright. Oh man. 11 years. It's so insane to say out loud. Like, I've been playing that game for half of my life. Basically since the game came out. Uh, now it's not gonna be around anymore. And honestly, I have moved on from the game for quite a while now, but like, it's still just sucks. Like, see, that's the thing. It's like, I'd move away from the game for, however long it would be. But then, like, I'd come back because there's more stuff to do, new expansion, whatever it is. But now that's just doesn't exist anymore. That won't be the case. Unless a Destiny 3 is gonna be announced, but I really don't think that's gonna happen until years later down the line. I don't think they'd want to announce something now and then, just go radio silent like Elder Scrolls or something like that. And if you are an Elder Scrolls fan and you saw that trailer at E3 by the way, which E3 doesn't even exist anymore, in like 2019 or something like that, you are just on life support. I'm assuming in terms of your excitement for that game. There's no news about it. I'm sure that they won't do anything for like that for Destiny 3. Hopefully, but you know. Anyways, yeah, I got introduced to the game because of my brother. He basically explained it to me that it was made by the same people who made Halo and Call of Duty. I was like, whoa, that's crazy. Like Halo and Call of Duty collaborated to make a game together. That seems pretty sick. Not knowing that it's not even like, not really like that, but you know, still saying to me. And then I'd see him play it on his Xbox, and so enamored by it. And I think one time I have this one very specific memory where he went to like the, or maybe he was using the restroom or something like that, and so he let me play for a little bit, and I asked him how to like get into like a patrol space, which basically means like you're walking around on the planets and you can just kind of, you know, explore, shoot stuff, whatever. But there's not actually that much to do. But I just kind of wanted to shoot things, you know. I just wanted to try the shooting of the game, and it felt incredible. I still remember it to this day. I even could probably tell you the exact weapon it was, but I still remember to this day just how like insane the game looked to me. Not like graphically or anything like that, but the art just looked so awesome. I was just so like enamored by the auto rifle I was holding, how it shot, the recoil, the noises, dude. The noises were superb. I mean, it really felt so insanely sci-fi, but also there was like a little bit of a magic element to it because you could, you know, use these supers and all these abilities, and it felt very magical, very magical. And eventually, later down the line, got my own Xbox. So, yeah, my brother and I would both play, and it was super fun. I Destiny 2 came out, and unfortunately, the game did not. It didn't really. Oh, actually, hold on. Let me not speed up a little. Speeding up too much here. So we played Destiny 1. We got the game during the time when this expansion released called Taken King. And Taken King was a massive expansion. I mean, just like it was the type of expansion that like saved the game at that time because there was not much to do, and the game as a whole just was not in a good state. And so the game or uh, Taken King really saved the expansion at the time. The story was fantastic. All of the quests were really good. The new destination was awesome. They tried a lot of different things, and it was amazing. It was so amazing. It was so like I don't know. I was just so insanely hooked. I feel like that's what I remember the most of anything else in the whole Destiny franchise. It's just that feeling of being super hooked into the game because they're just something that sticks out. Gunplay, art style, sound design, story. Like it felt so mysterious and but it felt satisfying when I heard, or, when I learned, I should say, of the answer to the mysteries. And then eventually, for a long time, I didn't do it, but eventually, I raided. I started doing raids. And raids in that game are genuinely unlike anything else. That is not something that has been replicated. I'm very open to it being replicated, obviously, since there's not going to be any more raids. But the game had a lot of like incredible encounters in those raids, and so many memories were formed in those places, and it was amazing. It was so amazing, and I eventually started getting better at the game, started getting better at raiding. I was socializing more. At the time, I didn't have a mic. I would use the Xbox party chat to type to people, and I got really good at that. Um, But yeah, the game means a lot to me, and although I started out playing it with my brother, he unfortunately did not like continue. When Destiny 2 released, it released in a very rough state. A lot of mistakes were made in terms of the game's core mechanics, and just generally there was a lot of choices that were made that a lot of people didn't agree with. One of whom was my brother, and so he quit. He quit and decided to move on. He didn't want to play the game anymore, but I couldn't do that. I really just couldn't do that. I felt so attached to the game, and I just enjoyed it so much. I don't know. I couldn't feel. What just happened? Where did where did the shelled? What? Where did he go? Oh, what the hell? What a weird bug. Anyway, sorry. Um, I was attached to the game, so I stuck with it for a while. My brother had a very valid reason, specifically him, for not playing the game anymore. There was some troubles with like the what he had purchased and stuff like that, and just dealing with that was just really annoying. I feel bad for him, but yeah, so um, that definitely compounded his frustrations with it. But the game itself wasn't in a good state, and I eventually quit also. Little did I know it would be one of many very iconic breaks of mine from the game, where I say I'm not gonna play the next expansion or whatever, but I end up doing it anyways. Uh, because there's nothing like Destiny. There's just nothing else like it. So that's exactly what I did. I stopped playing the game. Played other games. I think at the time I started picking up Rainbow Six Siege, which has quite the bad reputation now. But that game was actually good back when I played it in like 2016 or something like that. But yeah, I stopped playing, and then uh, we went on vacation back home to Algeria. Family, whatever. We had quite a lot of downtime when we were there when we were visiting. So I was watching YouTube videos, and I saw YouTube videos for Destiny, and I saw that there was this secret hidden exotic mission that existed in the game. Exotics in the game, excuse me, are a tier of rarity for armors and weapons, and um, usually they are difficult to get. However, because of how Destiny 2 is set up, it's not really like that, and it's kind of like a bit of a gimme. There's a lot of exotics that you just can get really easily and whatnot. But usually they're supposed to be like a rare thing. Anyways, there's this hidden secret exotic mission for a weapon that at the time was super overpowered called Whisper of the Worm. And I was so enamored by this because I had never seen it before. Like, how could I played the game, so often every single day. I feel like I would have seen some YouTube videos on this or something. Little did I know, this update wasn't talked about at all. It wasn't mentioned in any patch notes. It wasn't shown in any like TWAB, an article that Bungie releases. Well, I guess released because they're about to be done with the game now, but stands for This Week at Bungie, which then turned to This Week at Destiny, or in Destiny, because they released a different game called what's it called? Marathon. They released Marathon, and so they can't really say This Week at Bungie because they don't want to combine both games into one article. You know what I mean? Anyways, the TWAB was always an awesome thing to like show up and see every week because it was like the dev team communicating to us as the players and seeing like what's upcoming, what are they changing, what are some, things that they're finally addressing that we don't like as a community, as the players. And it was never mentioned. Not in there, not in any content drops, nothing. It just shadow dropped in the game. And the way you got to do it was not very intuitive either. It was super hidden away, put in like a corner of a map of one of the destinations in the game, and then you had to, you had to get lucky getting a particular event to spawn so you could complete the event, do something specific in the event, find the portal, go through the portal, bam, you're sent into the mission. And when you're sent to the mission, there's a time limit on the mission, which wasn't normal because at the time the game was very casually centric, casual centric, I should say. A lot of things were not difficult whatsoever. Getting everything was very easy, and what's it called? Uh, Everything was like just super dumbed down. It felt like they made it for like a baby to complete. You know what I mean? But here comes this thing that's super hidden that hasn't been found for months. The expansion, well, quote unquote expansion, it's more like an addition to the game. At the time, it was a very small like expansions. Two expansions that were very small called Curse of Osiris and I think it's just called Warmind. Warmind DLC? Something of Warmind? I don't know, I don't remember at this point. But yeah, so those two things existed. And it really did just feel like they existed. I mean, there was barely any content to do, and it did not fix most of the game's biggest woes. So the expansion Warmind had been out for a while, and nobody found out about this exotic mission for such a long time. It was so hidden away. We don't even know if it was there from the start. Like it could have been, added later on or something, or whatever. But someone out there found out about it, and they post about it online. And then people start looking for the mission themselves, trying to do the mission, and boom. People figure out the entirety of it and get to picking it to pieces or whatever. And that's about when I found out about do that video. And so I'm watching people play it, and I'm seeing people use guns that I kind of recognized but never saw before, but it gave me that Destiny tingle of whoa, those guns look really cool and they are really strong. I mean, I'm seeing them do not only a lot of damage but assist in this activity very effectively. And I'm looking at the guns, I'm looking at the armor these guys are wearing, and I'm looking at this exotic Whisper of the Worm that they're getting at the end of this activity. And it is I don't know if tribute is the right word, it's a spiritual successor, that's what I'm thinking of, to an exotic, not an exotic actually, well, yeah, it's hard to explain, but basically, it's a spiritual successor to a weapon in Destiny 1 that had the ability to refresh ammo from thin air as long as you landed headshots. It was a sniper. And it did a lot of damage, and because, if you had relatively good aim, and when you are doing boss fights, you do aim for the head, if you had relatively good aim, you would just have infinite ammo with this weapon, just doing an insane amount of damage. And similarly, later on, they nerfed it because, it's a bit too strong, but they made it into an exotic called Black Spindle. And it did, essentially the same thing as its legendary counterpart. Exotics in the game, you can't have more than one of per sort of sector of your armor set. I don't know if that makes any sense, but for example, you can only have one exotic armor and one exotic weapon. And if you try to equip another one, it says sorry, you can only have one equipped. Whatever. Regardless, though, yeah. So that's what Whisper of the Worm is. And learning about that, I'm a D1 veteran, right? I played the hell out of that game, and so hearing that was now, something that's inside of D2, I'm thinking, whoa, this is so sick. I really want to try this when I get home. And so I start with what I think is the best decision, which is to do the raid, which I actually hadn't done before. And not because I didn't like the raid itself or anything like that, but mainly because I just had heard so much bad press about the game that I kind of just put me off to trying to find a team to do it or whatever. So yeah, put it off. And then we get back home after that vacation, and I decide to check it out. And it still to this day is one of my favorite raids of all time in that game. It's called Leviathan. And Leviathan is an absolutely fantastic time. It is so cool. The raid itself is unfortunately no longer in the game. It's a whole thing. It's hard to explain. But it was an incredible set piece. It felt grand. It felt massive. It was this huge ship that ate planets in order to create, turn them into like an energy, or actually to power itself. It needed to eat the ships, but the way it turned the energy made it look like it was wine. It's sort of this like crystalline wine pattern, whatever. And I thought it was just so funny looking because it's like, dude, the ship eats planets and it's turning into wine. How stupid. Anyways, um, but yeah, the raid was done super well. It felt grand. It felt majestic, very, very majestic, very maybe lofty is a word I can use here. It felt like super royal, super royal. And this is intentional because of the, you know, how the boss is designed and just the entirety of the raid in general. And I was just so stoked playing through it for the first time. I found it so enjoyable. I found it such a fun challenge. I just thought like, wow, I can't believe I missed out on this. Even though the game wasn't in a great state, this is fantastic. And so I played the hell out of it. I got all the weapons I wanted, which at that time was really easy to do. I only took like a couple runs really. I got all of the armor that I wanted for my main character. I made a warlock in Destiny, always have. Um, and so yeah, it felt super special. And I was just having such an unbelievable amount of fun. And then it came time to do the Whisper of the Worm exotic mission. So I went to the destination that you had to go to. I booted it up. I what's it called? I I got like a squad to help me out to do it. Not that they were perfect in it themselves. They also were doing it to try to get the gun for the first time, like me. But still got a squad together because it'd be a bit of a throw if you didn't do that. Because that mission is not easy at all. And we're doing the mission. It's tough. It's really tough. It might even have took me multiple attempts to do. I mean, it's just very difficult stuff. But we beat it, and I get the gun. And for the game at the time to have something that is difficult and engaging and super rewarding was like a dream come true. Really, I don't even know how else to explain it. The gun functioned like its Destiny 1 counterpart, pulling ammo from thin air so long as you landed 3 headshots and would refill your magazine, you could keep shooting. And it hit like a truck. So much so that it actually became a bit of a problem later on in the game, but we don't talk about that. Regardless, though, it was so cool finding the game again and replaying it and finding that like joy and curiosity. And that's what sort of made me stick with Destiny 2. And a couple months later, a the next expansion was revealed because Destiny at the time did not have an end date like it does now. The next expansion was revealed, which was Forsaken. And Destiny 2 Forsaken is the best version Destiny has ever been in its entirety. That expansion, that whole year of content was absolutely filled to the brim with a bunch of changes to the game that were extremely important, stuff that was super um, impactful even to this day. A lot of system changes that were different, a lot of uh, uh, visual changes, a lot of quality of life updates. I mean, it was out the wazoo. On top of the fact that it gave just a bunch of content to do, and it was the best time I think I had ever played Destiny in. I mean, it was just so fantastic. Fantastic. Specifically, I will say the Black Armory. Sort of like it's called? What was it called at the time? It's the annual pass, which allowed you to access content that existed, for the game, uh, every 3 months. So what we now know as like seasons, essentially, but it was like the precursor to that. They didn't really have like a name, or it didn't have a proper, um, what's it called, a proper structure, like it does now in the game, or I suppose like it did. But it was just so brilliant, so masterfully done. Everything I had just said existed in that expansion, turned up to 11 with a great story, a great, new slew of weapons, exotics to go and chase, you know, very like aspirational things to go after, and story that like it just made you care. I don't know, it just I cared, and I cared so much that I sunk in. I think so. I would get home from school and I'd only have about like 5 hours of game time. I'd always get my homework done, like probably most times before I even got home. I'd have it done um, in order to play. And I think that must have been. I had 5 hours every day. You go to school for 5 hours, and the weekends I think I played like 9 hours. That's like 9. I gotta do this math while I'm trying to kill the boss. So my brain is really blanking here. How much was it? Wait, 25. 43 hours a week. Yeah, I think that's about right. 40 hours a week. I would play Destiny 2 during the Forsaken era, and it was magical. It was magical. I still look back on those days like I wonder if I'll ever be back to something like that. Just playing one game, like completely glued to the screen the entire time, just trying to squeeze as much as I could out of it. At the time, I was getting better at the game, right? So like I'm doing better. My builds are coming along together. Although, to be fair, back then builds were a bit more like um, not only one size fits all, but uh, bland, I guess. Like you just put on a particular subclass onto your class, and then also just one exotic armor. That was about it. But it just felt so amazing. It felt so amazing. And then the raid came out for Forsaken. That was incredible as well. There was a raid. Excuse me. There was a raid for Black Armory. I don't think there was a raid for the Reckoning, which is like these are all the season names. I don't think there was a raid for the Reckoning. Oh, there was a dungeon, I believe, or would that have come after? I think that came after. Yeah, I think that would have come after. Regardless, there was a whole bunch of stuff. And all of the raids that came from it were amazing, and it sort of hit its pinnacle, its peak, during Season of the Menagerie. Unfortunately, due to some like personal stuff at the time, I did not play that much of it. Although I did really get a bunch of my grind in during the last final weeks, where they kind of have like a catch-up booster mechanic, you could say. But even though I didn't play a lot of it, I was still consuming a bunch of Destiny content every day, seeing all these opinions, seeing all these builds, seeing these clips, seeing people, like talk about, balance changes, things that they could do to make things better, whatever it was. But everybody agreed, and everybody who has ever played during that time still believes that that was the best year of Destiny's history. And it was so, so awesome. And then after that, Shadowkeep hit. Shadowkeep was the expansion after Forsaken, and the story was really close to intriguing. It saw us returning to an old destination that we used to patrol around in Destiny 1, and it also saw us speaking to a character that was from Destiny 1 as well. I think for the first time, if I'm not correct, Eris Morn, her first appearance was in Shadowkeep. And she's a very brilliant character, very like awesome character, super fun. Her whole arc is really good as well. Um, but yeah, Shadowkeep had a bit more of a mild launch. It was not the most exciting. At the time, a lot of things in the game were very OP, like blindingly so. There were just weapons that were too strong. There were abilities and exotics that were too prevalent, and the game became a bit stale because of them. And unfortunately, Shadowkeep did not address these issues, and kind of only made them worse. But um, were still riding off that high, and Shadowkeep felt a lot like Destiny 1's third expansion, which I didn't talk about, called Rise of Iron. Rise of Iron in Destiny 1, which was its third and final expansion, um, was a lot more of um, like it's coming down from a high, you know? It's not the bad, it's not bad, not by any means, but it's not the greatest either, you know? The campaign for it, it was good. It introduced a new enemy type called Siva, very fun. And in my opinion, it introduced the best raid of all time, called Wrath of the Machine. Wrath of the Machine is so freaking cool. I love that raid so much. It was just the most chaotic, you know, it was simple in mechanics, but it was just go, go, go the entire time. It had such unique encounters. I liked the setting a lot and the raid a lot itself because a lot of it's red. Red is my favorite color. So like a lot of the armor just looks amazing. I love the Siva aesthetic, although I know some people didn't. The Siva is like the enemy type. I think I said that already. But yeah, it was so freaking cool. Oh my gosh, I was just so like, I love that raid so much. Um, but it definitely was one of those content drops where it felt more of like a, you know, you're descending and are now like chilling out a little bit, right? You're not, it's nothing crazy like the Taken King or Forsaken was, but you know, it was still good. And Shadowkeep had a story moment that was incredibly important and something that was like so like jaw-dropping to see. I mean, you literally rounded a corner and you would see a like there's this object, this ship that belonged to like an enemy faction that we had never seen yet, but I had only like um, sort of had alluded to us, and it was so menacing. I mean, the music would drop at the perfect time, like it would like fill up your whole screen once you like turned around and saw it. It was amazing. It was amazing. Like, what a way to do a reveal for that. But then that was it. The year of content for Shadowkeep was not that great. It really wasn't. Um, so much so that I got really bored of it at the time and didn't play the rest of the year. Something I regret a little bit, but um, yeah, like it just did not hit as hard as Forsaken did, and for me at the time, it was really disappointing, and I wanted more from it, and I was just really bored playing all of the content that came after the initial drop of the expansion. Um, what was I gonna say? I forgot. Then the year went by. It's pretty stale, very mundane, very, you know, uh, plateaued. It feel like the Destiny's numbers were definitely going down, but it felt like a plateau for me personally. And then I just this is kind of where a gap in my memory is. Just don't remember much during that. What is happening? I'm not allowed to go with my Voidling? Oh, okay, there we go. Anyways, there was like a gap in my memory because I think I dropped the game for like 2 years or maybe like a year and like 8 months or something like that. Um, but I don't know. I didn't find it much very interesting. Um, until I sort of picked it back up again towards the end of its life cycle, of that expansion's life cycle, towards the end of its content. Oh, sorry, the next expansion's life cycle, um, called Beyond Light. And Beyond Light saw the introduction of something that, to this day, I still find mind-boggling that we got access to, which was darkness powers. In the game, you have the access to the light, and you use light powers. And you have been doing that for, what, 5 years, 6 years at the time? Um, Ever since Destiny 1, they were always the same sort of elemental powers that you had access to. Um, And so like it didn't necessarily feel stale or old when new stuff would release for it, but it's like, I mean, I've kind of been using stuff like this the entire time. But both lore-wise and gameplay-wise, to have access to darkness subclasses, darkness powers, was just so cool. Like, I didn't know our Guardians were capable of that. Guardians of the characters players in the game. I didn't know that we were capable of that. I didn't know that this would ever be a thing. Like, the game was heading into a direction story-wise where it really tried to make this note of, um, yes, there is the light, yes, there is the dark, but the difference between them doesn't matter. You know, they're both the same. They're both sort of uh, what's the word I'm looking for? They were both inherent natures of the universe. You know, like if something gets big enough, it will have gravity, right? And if I boil this water to a particular temperature, or yeah, to a particular temperature, it will turn to steam, right? Just stuff like that. And so like that was so cool to see. Now I didn't play during the year Beyond Light. Like I said, I was pretty much at the very end of it. Uh, but I had watched videos and stuff like that, and people generally, didn't enjoy it as much. Definitely wasn't a step up from Shadow Keep. It was kind of a bit of the same. I think it was definitely held in a much higher regard, even to now, because of the fact that it introduced darkness subclass powers, and that's like an insane thing to do, because like you've broken the mold of this set pattern, right? And this pattern has been going for 5 months. Sorry, 5 months, 5 years. Um, yeah. And the raid for it at the time was really good too. Shadowkeep's raid, not the best, I will say. Although for some reason I'm blanking on what it was. Um, no, I get there, I get there. Hold on. So we had Leviathan in the base game. We had its raid layers, which are sort of smaller, shorter raids. So those were Eater of Worlds, Spire of Stars, and then Crown of Sorrow during Forsaken. And then during Shadowkeep, that raid was Forsaken had Last Wish, by the way. Forgot to talk about that raid. The Last Wish was such an insane raid. To this day, one of my favorite raids of all time. Definitely like the most challenging raid, the most engaging one. Like it gives me the vibes of Wrath of the Machine, but also on top of the chaos, there are complicated mechanics to do side of the raid, and that's, excuse me, awesome. Like that is so freaking fun. Like I think to some degree it's been replicated, but it hasn't really returned to that like same point that it like used to be at. And I'm about to do something crazy here. Oh, wow, that's crazy. I have unlocked every single Voidling for both the Quebec, which are these guys. Boom, look at that. Every single variation of it, as well as every single variation of the Gillick. That's insane. This is like a little Pokedex thing, the Wikipedia, the Voidopedia. Look at this. I'm missing two things. I bet Gold Nugget. Yeah, I don't know what that is. And then collect all evolutions. I have all. I have all. I bet I know what it is. I'll talk about it in a second. But there's these like golden eggs you can get. These are the eggs. There's a golden egg you can get, and if you get lucky with it, you'll get a particular version. So for me, it was this guy, the Quebec, which you can't get normally. Um, you had to have just gotten lucky from a gold egg. And then, oh, bring 3 Quebec to max level. I didn't know this was a thing. I didn't know this was an achievement. Anyways, but look at this. Oh my goodness. I'm missing one, what's this? Pattern color, which is probably the golden nugget one, but I have every single perk, every pattern here, every eye. Oh, missing one eye as well. So those are the 2 things I'm actually missing, which both of these are definitely from the golden nugget Quebec. Um, and then for the Gilix, I'm missing Telluric and Andromeda, which I'm very confident belong to the ones you get from the Golden Egg, which I'll look into it, see if how I can get these 2 before the game releases, because um, this has actually been really fun. It feels very relaxed just putting this on, putting a YouTube video on, and then playing this right before I hit the hay or something. Gene-wise is where we're at. We're missing a lot more stuff because of the fact that we have one of the rare Quepecs, which is the Quebec one, but we don't have a single rare for this one. So we're technically close, even just as close, or was it called? Evenly close to completing both of them. I just got the Quebec one instead of the Gillick one from the egg. Anyways, enough of that. Actually, wait, maybe I'm not done with the Gillics. I feel like I am. I feel like, am I missing something from the fire side of their evolution tree? Let's see. No, yeah, I'm done here. Okay, so I think it is just the case that it's those 2. I'm just missing those 2, and they would round it all out. All right, cool. I guess now we just I do want to try bringing one of these guys to max level. I didn't know there was a max level to the Voidlings, so let's give it a shot. We'll keep on the with Burr here. I name all of them. Um, but yeah, let's keep at it. So anyways, back to it. Forsaken's expansion Last Wish. Fantastic. Oh my gosh, such an incredible raid. Um, what? Forsaken's expansion Last Wish. I think this is a sentence I said that does not make any sense. Forsaken's raid, the Forsaken expansion's raid Last Wish was absolutely fantastic. It combined high octane combat with complicated, difficult mechanics, stuff you have to be really firing on all cylinders for. It was awesome. Um, but the Shadowkeep one, I really just can't remember for some reason. Was there no raid for Shadowkeep or something? Dude, why can't I think of one? Hit of Heresy released, I know that, which is like a dungeon. I don't think a raid would. No. There had to have been a raid. Wow, I can't believe I can't remember. This is so interesting. Like, I'm such a big nerd in Destiny. I could tell you, like, the name. Like, you could show me a picture of a weapon. I could tell you the name of it. Alright, you know what? Let's look it up. Let me see. I really don't feel like there was one. I think it was only Pit of Heresy, but let's try it. So we're looking up, Shadow Keep raid. Garden of Salvation! Oh man. Yes. Garden of Salvation. You know why I don't remember that? It's one of my least favorite raids ever. I just hated it so much. I hate the enemies you fight in it. I think they're super boring and lazy. I hate the mechanics of it. The lore of it is cool, but like it's not displayed well or shown well in the actual raid itself. The boss is completely forgettable. Genuinely a no-name boss at the very end. Yeah, it was just so whack. I know why I don't freaking remember. But anyways, um, that is that's what the raid was. Not great, obviously, as I have explained. Um, but yeah, now we go back to Beyond Light. So this is a year later after Shadowkeep releases. Beyond Light is the expansion where in which you get your Darkness subclass. A bunch of other stuff happens too. I also did not play much during this time because I don't know, just didn't enjoy the game, I guess. However, I did return to it. I think literally 2 weeks before the sort of final season ended and it began the next cycle, the next expansion, which I still think is pretty funny. And there was a huge breadth of content to take part in, just because of the fact that uh, like I was playing all of the seasons that had just passed, like content, and the expansions like missions and stuff like that as well. I think I just barely reached like the highest power level just at the very end of the season. But I got a lot of stuff done during those 2 weeks, and I was just grinding it hella hard, which ends up becoming like a pattern you'll see later on, where I kind of pick up something and grind it within like 2 weeks time, grind the hell out of it, and then get off the game. Um, but yeah, so that was Shadowkeep, and that was Beyond Light. Beyond Light was good, better, I should say, better than Shadowkeep, but not really Destiny's prime. And then Shadowkeep was just wasn't there, wasn't really all there. Um, the expansion after that, though, was called Witch Queen. And Witch Queen had been lore-wise very hyped up. The Taken King back in Destiny 1, his name was Oryx, and it was actually like a king, the Taken King, the King of Taking, I guess. I mean, it is true. It was the King of Taking, um, and he uh, has a sister, two sisters actually, and both those sisters are named Zivu Arath, and most importantly, for the topic of Witch Queen, Savathun. Now, Savathun was an extremely cunning, like very brainiac kind of character that lore-wise, just sort of in the background, has been doing a bunch of like crazy stuff. Um, and it would be the first time that we'd ever see her on screen, that she'd ever be a fleshed out character, that she'd even have a character design, you know, like in the lore, she doesn't obviously have a design. I mean, maybe you could piece together some things here and there, but you wouldn't have an accurate descriptor of who she is. Um, and she would be our main villain, and our main uh, goal, or whatever problem to have to solve. And what a brilliant story it told. I mean, it flipped. If it did the same thing as Beyond Light, where it just sort of flipped things on its head, in terms of like, what? Like, I didn't know that that was even possible. I didn't know that that was a thing. Whatever. And its campaign released with the ability to play it on the legendary difficulty, which not only gave you increased rewards both during it and towards the end, but it was just more difficult. And now at this point, I would be starting to build up my interest and my enjoyment um, of just really difficult like games and stuff like that, especially when there was a reward to find at the end of it. And man, oh man, did I find one at the end of that. And also, just throughout that whole expansion cycle, so fantastic, so good. I mean, the story, when there's a really good story, when you care about the story and you see like such insane reveals and stuff like that, it makes the expansion and all of its content feel better, feel really good. Like, because now I'm invested. I understand what I'm doing. I understand like why I'm doing this activity, what this gun is, like a bunch of this stuff. Um, yeah, and it's super awesome. Um, that expansion released with a raid called Vow of the Disciple. Fantastic raid, up there for me, maybe top 3. It was just really, really good. It had it had pretty much what I was looking for in all these games, where it's like, or sorry, in all these raids. Good combat, good mechanics, mechanics that aren't like too complicated to where it sort of just feels like I'm pressing buttons and you know thinking of numbers or whatever, calculating numbers. It was very engaging, and I'm super happy that I got to play it. And I'm even happier that like it's like a raid really does determine sort of the outcome of an expansion, right? Like you can have a great first course, second course, but the dessert in Destiny 2 is what makes the dinner so worth it, right? It's like it is the thing to look forward to. It is the like um, pinnacle of it all, and in all aspects of the game, right? Difficulty, and reward, and story, everything. And it just had that. It had a menacing, imposing boss at the end. It had a very electric soundtrack. It was super memorable set piece wise. The visuals were incredible. The encounters were very memorable, very fun, very difficult too. I mean, it was just awesome. Just super super awesome. Um, then the year of content for Witch Queen was great as well, minus maybe one that was a bit slower. It's not necessarily the most exciting thing, but all of it was great. All of it was stuff that like I uh, I played a lot of, and during this time I played just a lot of Destiny. I was on console at this point. I had did a done a oh my gosh, I did a little stint of Destiny 2 on PC during I want to say during the end of Forsaken, going into Shadowkeep. Definitely mostly in Shadowkeep, but uh, mainly in I don't know if I played that much. Oh, I know I. No, I didn't do Beyond Light on. Yeah, I didn't do Beyond Light. So it was during Shadowkeep, and then from Shadowkeep I returned back. Or sorry, for Beyond Light I returned back to console because at the time I didn't have an actual PC to. Well, I did have a PC to play on, but I couldn't run the game. So I'd actually be what I would actually be playing is through a thing called GeForce Now, which is like I think at the time it was the first cloud streaming service where you could play games. Well, basically some server somewhere or whatever, you would hook your computer up to a much beefier PC that could actually run the games that you wanted to play. It was a free service. At the time, they were actually testing it. I actually remember the day I got the email in order to actually access it. My cousin and I were going back home on the school bus, and we were like, "Yo, let's check. Did I get in? Did I get in?" Because he also used the service. He's the one that told me about it. Uh, yeah, and I got in, and whatever. So that's why, like, I did a little bit of flip flopping around. Um, but yeah, man, so much fun I had during that time. I mean, Destiny on PC is such a superior experience to console. And having played both and flip-flopping through both, I can confidently say that it is meant to be experienced on PC for sure. Um, Even if it wasn't even PC first on release. Anyways, let's come back to everything. Let me think, what was I gonna say? Witch Queen, brilliant expansion. The expansion afterwards was Lightfall, I believe. Very bad expansion. Very sad with how that all turned out. Um, it was definitely Destiny's lowest, and it was super sad to see too. I don't know, like Bungie has this like really bad problem with like being on a very high and then immediately following up with a very low expansion right after. Um, and it was unfortunate. And at this point, they had a different seasonal model, different to the annual pass stuff, where it had been used and overused quite a lot, so it became very stale. And so a lot of us players were just very bored with it and felt very formulaic. You log on every Tuesday, do the weekly story, do some extra stuff, maybe a raid or two, and then you'd be done. And then you'd come back next week to just repeat the process until the new season started. You check out all the new content for like a week, and then you repeat this pattern of like a week to play. Yeah. But Lightfall came and it went, and then another high, probably numbers wise. No, actually, I don't think numbers wise it was incredible. I liked its best, but in terms of player experience and player opinion, the next high that Destiny 2 got experienced was the final shape. And the final shape was an awesome expansion. It saw the return of a very beloved character. It had an incredibly new destination, something very different in terms of like how they approach this destination design-wise. It's much more linear than it is like, you pick and explore where you want to go. Uh, Campaign was great. Story was good. The villain was incredible, very menacing. Same villain technically as Lightfall, even though like Lightfall's villain was more like a what's it called? It was more of like a concept, I guess. I don't even know how to explain it. Um, but yeah, it was something. Oh man, damn. Yeah, and then Final Shape came and went. It changed up the seasonal model, which was good, but unfortunately, what it changed it to was not that great. Kind of more of the same, really, just packaged differently. And then after that came the Edge of Fate and Renegades, where Destiny was at its lowest. The Final Shape was definitely the narrative end for most, if not all, of Destiny's content, and so to go from that to sort of like, you know, it just felt kind of more like a side quest. Oh, there's another problem for us to take care of. I mean, I guess we'll do it, you know what I mean? But it didn't feel like you were working towards the end goal of defeating the big bad. And it really, really felt like you defeated the big bad in the end of Final Shape. Um, and it sort of started fizzling out. I mean, it had dwindling player counts, only getting worse and worse and worse as the weeks went on, as both content drops had happened. Edge of Fate was first, and the Renegades. Edge of Fate definitely worse than Renegades. Renegades, I think they picked it up a lot, but there's a little bit of identity lost in Renegades. It was a Star Wars collaboration, which I still can't believe is a real thing I'm saying out loud. But Renegades was definitely better. And then ever since then, unfortunately, the game has been on a quite the decline. And then Bungie released their other game called Marathon, and it felt even more like it was the end of Destiny, and things were starting to get pretty bad for the player base and for the game as a whole. And it was really sad. It was really sad seeing the game to go from, all these incredible highs, to now such unfortunate lows. And yeah, I cherish those memories that I have of the golden days and those golden times, but I know that it's not always gonna last, right? It's not always gonna last. And not only is it not gonna always last, but um, I'm happy that I was there and that I sunk my teeth in, you know, really tasted all that I could, or that there was even. And then moved on to the next piece. Good and bad, all of it. More Destiny has always been good, and always something I enjoyed. Uh, but the best Destiny is what always stands out and will stand out. Um, the game had been my anchor for a long time, for all of these years, right? Even if I took a break or whatever, go home and, play a different game as opposed to Destiny, it would still be like, oh, you know what? Let me go hop back on. Let me see what's going on. You know what I mean? Especially when it comes to like the weekly stuff, I would definitely go back and play every week, get that stuff done, and complain about the game, watch people complain about the game, watch videos about the game, all of that, all of that. It has been my passion, and it's been my pleasure that I have been able to have that passion for so long, you know, especially with the genre it is in and the fact that it is a live service game. Being a looter shooter and being live service is very different, and I'm sure it must have been very challenging. And a lot of other games have failed at attempting to do something like this, or have definitely never reached that, colossal highs that Destiny has. And so I'm grateful that I experienced all of it, and um, I'm very happy that I sunk all the time I did into it. You know, I think like given the opportunity, knowing what I know now, would I have rather put that time into something else? Probably. But I think it's shaped who I am, and it's been an important part of my life for a long time. And seeing it go is tough, or at least seeing this um, departure is tough. Um, because it's always been the thing I return to, and it's mattered so much to me. And I got so good at it, and I reached the mountaintop. You know, funnily enough, that's also the name of a gun in the game. Anyways, whole thing. But I reached the absolute pinnacle you could in that game, and it was glorious. It was awesome, and I'm so happy that I did, and that I got to experience all that Destiny had to offer. And they didn't rule out the possibility of a Destiny 3, but they've definitely not confirmed it for sure. It's seems like it's gonna be another one of those games that are awaiting its third release, its trilogy completion. Half-Life 3, Portal 3, Team Fortress 3, Titanfall 3. You know what I mean? Now a new legend has been added to the roster in Destiny 3, and maybe someday I'll boot up the stream and I'll tell you all about how freaking exciting it is that it's gonna release in however long. And maybe not. And maybe this is genuinely the end for Destiny. And story's done. But regardless of that, I am very happy. I'm very grateful. And I have talked your guys' ears off way too much. This stream has been longer than the freaking Resident Evil streams, which is pretty funny. But yeah, thank you for hearing me talk about it. I am it matters a lot to me, and it means a lot to me, and I don't know. Just wanted to let it out, I think. You know, I wanted to say my piece. Thank you all for watching. I appreciate you being here. Tomorrow's a little bit of a stack day for me, so I may be busy and may not get to stream a long stream in, but I'm hoping that I do at least get the stream in early, because like I said, I actually don't really enjoy doing streams late at night. I prefer the early ones, but um, we'll see. We'll see. We'll see. Tomorrow will be Resident Evil, of course. It will be. It will be. We're gonna keep backtracking and doing whatever bullshit we can in order to succeed and move on with and beat the game. But for now, that is all I have for you. Thank you all for watching. And if by some, random chance a Bungie developer sees this VOD on channel or something, uh, thank you for making your game, and thank you for the crazy ride that you have been the conductors of, good and bad. Thank you all. I will see you tomorrow. Peace.